Good evening. Thanks everybody for joining me once again. Spirit Connections. I'm Tiffany Rice. How's everyone doing tonight?
Yay!
That's what I like to hear. Tonight is an extra special night. I have two very special people in the chat room tonight. Special guests, special friends. They are the oddballs from Jeff Belanger's 30 Odd Minutes.
Hey,
Andrew Lake and Matt Moniz. How you guys doing?
For the next 30 minutes, we looked. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Wrong show.
But you could do for the next 60 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. For the next 60 minutes, we'll explore the unexplained.
Excellent.
Spirit Connections.
Oh, well, no, I'm not. No,
Oh,
I'm
I
not.
like it. See, this is the thing. I always tell these guys, Matt and Andy, you guys have to put your voice on tape somewhere so I can, because when each one of them speak, I'm in some sort of trance. It's trance-like. I like it. I like it a lot.
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell everybody that. It's not just to fluff your feathers, you know. I sounded very Bostonian. Had a very thick accent there. But anyways, I am going to be talking to Miss Stephanie Burke and Carl Wood of Phantom PI. But first and foremost, since I have all you guys here with me tonight, I want to talk about my Spirit Connections event, which is this Saturday, November 5th. It's going to be at the Center in East Bridgewater. It's 36 North Bedford Street. It's right on Route 18, if you guys are familiar with South Shore, Mass at all. We are going to be having a whole bunch of fun. Everybody here is going to be there and some. So we're going to start off with some presentations. I don't know. I know it's pretty much everybody that's been on Spirit Connections Give and Take. There's some that couldn't, unfortunately, make it. We're going to have Joanne Wood talk about relationships. She's doing a half-hour presentation. We have Karen Rando. She's going to be doing her talk on animal communication. We're going to have Carl and the Phantom PI girls there talking about their Phantom PI series, which we're actually going to talk about tonight too, and we have some clips.
Ignore me.
We just dropped a drink. A soda.
Wait, I just dropped it.
Just a soda.
There's a bar under the table.
Yeah.
You never know.
Just kidding. I'm back.
So you learned well from 30 odd minutes.
Yeah.
Some.
And you didn't look silly disappearing under the table.
Not at all. Not at all.
No. So sorry.
So who else? Okay, so then we're gonna. I got sidetracked,
Sorry.
of course, as always. But then, so we have Joanne Wood and Joanne Young, Joanne Wood Young.
Wood Young?
Well, now I got
It's
confused.
Carlston Wood. And who else?
Joanne
Is there
Wood
another
Young.
Wood?
Joanne Wood Young.
Oh, okay.
So there's two Wood.
You're not the only Wood around
There's
here.
gonna be
I guess
two
not.
Woods.
No, not in East Bridgewater, no. The Bridgewater area is where I'm from, so there's lots of woods up there.
But boom.
Just might get off.
Totally just, she just looked
I'm
at me
all
like she
out
went into
of
a trance.
sorts. You know, I got a chemical peel, so I'm very self-conscious because I feel like my face is, feel like a zombie. You know.
One spilled drink and she loses it.
Yeah, eyebrows. I'm having a meltdown on TV. This is what it is.
There's
My
really no
eyebrows
drinks
are
in this
on.
drink.
Like I can't get my eyebrows waxed, or my flesh will fall off. So I have to wait. But anyways, getting back to the Spirit Connections event, you guys have to go. We're going to be doing again a meet and greet. Andrew Lake's going to be there with his book Ghost Hunting Southern New England. Matt Moniz is going to be doing a presentation on Bigfoot, UFOs, and all that stuff. That you guys just can't get enough of, obviously, because the chat room was on fire when he was on. So he's going to be there. We're just going to have a bunch of fun. We're going to have readers, too. I can't believe I forgot about the readers, first and foremost. Since I do them, I won't be doing them Saturday. But
Was it spontaneous combustion when the chat room was on fire?
pretty much.
He knows about that, too.
We have Mandy Avery. She's going to be doing animal medicine cards. And then we have Terry Jamrose, who is going to be doing angel cards, tarot cards, and medium. And then Karen Rando, who's doing the presentation on animal communication. She's also going to be doing some medium readings as well. So for $8, guys, you really can't beat it. It's going to be cold. Why don't you come and get warm with us? Kids under 5 are free. It's going to be a good time, and it gives you a chance to mingle with some like-minded people. So again, that's this Saturday at the Center in East Bridgewater from 11 to 7, 36 North Bedford Street, Route 18. So if you guys have any questions, definitely go to my Spirit Connections event. All right.
Wow.
It's going to be a good time.
It is going to be fun. I'm trying to raise the energy.
You did
Did you tell them all what time it was?
11 to 7 on Saturday. You can dress in anything. mesh, half mesh T-shirts. You can do that too.
Let's not get awkward. Please come.
I always bring it to that awkward
Clothes are
level.
not optional.
Clothing optional? No, it's cold. Just dress for the weather.
You heard it here first, folks.
But anyways, so again, go visit Spirit Medium Tiffany. Spirit Medium Tiffany on Facebook.
That's right.
Yes.
You did well.
There we go. Awesome.
What else is going to be there?
What else is going to be the WCTV, the broadcast that broadcasts us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. They're going to be there filming. And so if you want your chance on film or maybe even get a clip on Spirit Connections, I'm sure there's going to be some interviewing going on. Make sure you do your hair.
I will.
I think you should.
I do too.
It's going to be a good time.
It needs a chemical
Overall.
peel. Don't you think it needs a chemical peel?
I think so.
You would look like a zombie if you got a chemical peel
I
on
just
that.
look like a zombie anyway. I just put a little, for Halloween, it's just a little gray, and then under here, and that's a zombie.
That's how I feel. Like I keep on looking in the monitor. My face is reflecting off of Steph's sweatshirt. But anyways, guys,
not.
I hope the chat room's a little bit lively. Is it, guys?
There are people there, but they're talking mostly about
Oh, they're not
themselves.
paying. You guys aren't paying attention?
No, we're paying attention.
No, I know you guys are paying attention.
If you guys have any questions on your own, I'm sure you do, being the professionals that you are.
Yes, what kind of drink was spilled?
There's actually no drinks in the studio. It was a make-pretend drink.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So it was
like that.
let's call it a phantom screaming red zombie.
Okay.
That
Okay.
sounds complicated.
Exactly.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Table tipping at the at November
That is
5th?
a good question.
'Cause I'm
Steph and I
interested in
had
that.
Steph and I had talked about that. Because of scheduling, we're not sure if we can
Okay.
actually get that in there.
No, the problem is there's enough rooms for the presentations, the tables, and then the readers.
Okay.
And with table tipping, it's not really something you want to do with a bunch of people running around talking and it's loud and
No, I see.
you like to be quiet, intimate. So
And hopefully nothing tips under the table.
yes, exactly. Not like orange soda from Burger King or anything like that. That would be terrible.
That would be.
But
saying.
Steph, you will be there, and that's
I will be there. Yes.
what Stephanie does. Is she does table tipping. So
Yep.
if anybody has any questions,
Questions
I'm sure.
are, if you're interested in actually doing it, I'll have like a sign-up sheet with contact information
Awesome.
and business cards and all that. So
Maybe she'll take a picture of the table so you guys can see what it looks like.
okay,
Just saying.
it's not very exciting,
That's
but yeah.
Hey, I got a picture of a table to show you.
Yeah, do you want to see my table? I don't know if you can handle it.
You guys know tables? I do. Check this baby out. But anyways, so guys, it's nice to actually have you on the other side of the camera, isn't it, Carl?
Yes, we did this once before
Yes, we did.
at the old location, which shall remain nameless. You don't want people to know the exact address of the old location, do you?
No.
Studio
Well, look at me like that. I
807.
wasn't going to say it. But yes, at the old location, I came on to talk, and I think we got like 10 minutes of it. For some reason or another,
last 10
a
minutes?
switch wasn't switched. It's the Creaky Door Productions, folks.
I hope we're taping now.
Yes, of course we are.
Can you imagine if that happened twice? That would be terrible.
And every time Carl comes on, I manage not to hit record.
But tonight we're
Right.
at the studio, so everything's
So,
hunky-dory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or hunky-dory, however you
Hopefully.
say that. You okay?
Hopefully.
Oh, I have the hiccups now
Cheers,
because I
hiccups.
just ate
We're pretty
a
classy here
cheeseburger.
at Spirit
Oh, it's
Connections.
awesome.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
When you go for a drink, like if you go to Burger King,
Oh.
do you order a medium?
Ha ha ha.
I'm just curious.
I do actually. I
Hold on, let
do.
me check. No, it doesn't look like it.
That is a medium,
I
but
always
it's not
usually
actually
get
there.
It is.
It's a pretend medium.
Well, I got you a
I
large
apologize.
tonight.
That was-
Did
Oh,
you?
like Sylvia Brown?
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
She's
Actually, not
a
first.
psychic, not a
Ain't scared.
medium.
We're drumming up some business here.
Well, this gives me a good segue into
Something.
needed one.
talking about something else. No, what I brought you guys on is,
Yes.
again, I want to talk about Phantom PI. What is Phantom PI?
Well, Carl.
Phantom PI actually stands for Phantom Paranormal Investigations of New England. And it's a group of individuals, like-minded individuals, that go out on paranormal investigations of any type. If you have an alleged haunting, or you have some type of mysterious anomaly of any type, you can contact us through phantompi.com. We will come out and investigate. We have investigators of, see the lights, they just follow us.
So
It's
weird.
just amazing. Anomalous lights will just appear whenever
like
we
it.
mention
I like it a
Phantom
lot.
PI.
Also, facebook.com/paranormaltv. You can reach us there as well.
That's right.
Now, do you have a Phantom PI page, like my Spirit Medium Tiffany page?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
we
what
have
it is.
phantompi.com, which you can see on the screen now.
Okay.
phantompi.com.
Or just like it's the same thing as your Spirit Medium.
And you
page.
hit it. You hit the like, and
The
then you can
Paranormal
be.
TV on
Oh,
Facebook.
yes,
you
on
know.
Facebook we do, yes.
And you know what? We already have a
Paranormal
question,
TV.
guys.
Excellent.
Wow.
What's the question?
Spectre wanted to know, what
my
is
God.
the difference between a psychic and a medium?
Very good question.
I thought so.
Well, Spec, a medium can be psychic. Psychic can't be medium, first and foremost. But as far, and you can help me out with this answer too, medium is someone who communicates with people that have passed loved ones, past friends. But we're also using our intuitive senses as well, so we do pick up on a lot of present. I hate using the term future type.
Well, psychic does do things to come, if you don't want to use future, but things that might happen are going to happen. It's all about the here and now, and what's going on now, and what the path that you are on right now will lead you to eventually in the future. You can get a psychic reading with tarot cards today, and it can change tomorrow depending on a decision you make.
It's
So
kind of like that
it's all
book,
free will.
you know, choose the red potion
Yep.
or the green potion.
So-
Choose your adventure, that's what
Yep.
it is. I love
So-
those books. But
You're right. Medium connects to those that have passed on, and mediums use their intuitive side, their psychic side. A lot of the times, past loved ones or spirit guides, things like that, will give us future information, but not all psychics can connect to the other side. So.
So I hope that answers your question, Spec.
You must know Spectre personally.
No,
'Cause you call him Spec.
I call him Spec now
He's
because he's
Hi,
in
Spec.
there.
Forever.
He's always in the chat room.
Yep.
So
Spectre is. Spectre's in the Spirit Connections chat
is
room.
Cutie Head in the chat room? Is Cutie Head in the chat room?
No, not so
Oh,
far.
what's up with Cutie Head?
Traffic.
Cutie Head is also. You know why? Because I know they're on vacation. I know they're on vacation, and they're probably.
Well, I saw last week the dog even watches Spirit Connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
They have 7 people sitting in front of.
I mean,
Their
besides Lily
computer
and
and
Bianca, but
I have
Yeah.
a question. Speaking about dogs, when is Lily
I wanted to bring her tonight.
going to make an appearance?
I wanted to bring her tonight. And I had to put covers on because she was so cold because it's cold out. So
it's freezing out.
I put covers on her and she was just laying there. But I ended up dropping her off with my sister. She played with the kids. So, but I will definitely want to bring her.
She should have
next
come in her
week.
lobster costume.
I should have brought her in a lobster costume.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yes, I did.
I think it's the cutest thing on this
I
planet.
said I made
She
a
loves
comment
it. She
about
loves it. You
Yeah.
could obviously see her smiling in that picture.
Yeah.
But moving
Very
forward
happy.
about Phantom PI, guys. Okay, so Phantom PI, Phantom
Yes.
Paranormal Investigators.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and you guys are based out of Wareham.
We're based out of Wareham, but we will travel anywhere that we can afford to get gas for.
No, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say you seem to be the mastermind of it all. So what gave you the inkling what sparked your interest to say, you know what, this is what I
story
want to
behind
do?
the story. Why did I get involved with paranormal anything? Not by choice, like so many people do today. We didn't have the media influx when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
I won't date myself, but there wasn't a lot of choices of channels on the television. There wasn't a lot of internet where you could go and immediately learn or Google. Are you okay? Yeah. You sure? You want to go this way a little?
No, my
No,
leg
we're
was
good.
hurting.
We're just stuck
I just
together,
wanted
that's
to.
all.
I felt like I was
You're
completely.
getting taller as I.
I feel like
I'm like going down here, and you're like.
Well,
And every time you do that, you spin me. Whereupon I, hit
feel like
him.
she's
and I feel
hovering
like
above me, looking
like-
down at me for some reason.
I have wings, so
You do have
I'll
wings.
whip them out
I've
at the
seen
end.
the
I'll whip
wings.
them out.
Well, basically, it was a family choice to move into a house in New England in a town north and west of Bridgewater, near the edge of the Hockomock Swamp, none of which I knew anything about at the age of 7. The house that we lived in was built in 1760, and when we moved in, I immediately began to notice things were different. Some things were very active, and some things were active once in a while, and you could almost call it an encyclopedia of paranormal activity. So at that point in time, I either had to stay scared constantly or go to the library and start pulling books out like Hans Holzer, Brad Steiger, you know, those type of books that they had, and try to learn Fate magazine,
Right.
different
So
things
that's
like that.
that's kind of how you started, and then
Yeah.
from there on, I mean, you have this wonderful studio here at WCTV in Wareham, and
It was
it's
actually
just kind of the next step.
this has been a long progression. You know, back then that was my studying, that was my research. We had to do things there to try to figure out what was going on, and a lot of the times we couldn't figure it out. So it became a lifelong quest. And then it became more commonplace to find information on the internet back, you know, years ago. And there was people online like Pittman and Chris Balzano, and
Right.
I even had a little MySpace Bridgewater Triangle group in the early 90s. And of course, then the radio programs, we would listen to Coast to Coast and Art Bell, and then the, look.
What was
as
that?
It's called table sliding. It's the first cousin to table tipping.
So how did that happen?
How did it happen?
I
Well,
didn't
it's
even touch
it's
it.
It's a phenomenon.
I predict gravity.
It's a hard scientific fact. So, I mean, it was just something that I've been studying for a long time and reading
Right.
about. And now, you know, at this point in time, we have so many things that are at our availability at any time to go out and investigate with.
Right.
Excuse me, Carl.
Yes, sir.
You forgot being, you know, the same age group.
Yes.
Search Of with Leonard Nimoy.
In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy
Come
was
on,
like...
we never missed an episode, did we?
No, not at all. In Search Of was great. It was In Search of the Loch Ness Monster, In Search
All
of
of it. And
UFOs.
Holzer used to help them with their ghost stories.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. And that was like one of the very first things on TV that
That's
dealt
right,
with it.
Leonard
That
Leonard
was
Nimoy.
that was nonfiction,
Yeah, it was great.
other than the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Outer Limits?
Outer Limits, of course.
I used to watch that.
You did.
Yeah, but you watched the newer ones. The
Yeah,
color ones.
yeah,
We're
it was
talking
the
about the
new
old
one.
black and white ones with the rubber monsters.
Yeah, she watched the one with Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
We watched the ones with Cloris Leachman.
No, I watched the ones with Alyssa Milano.
I did too, but hey, you know, you gotta watch everything.
So anyways, guys.
Yes.
So, okay, so that led you. So when did you start, like, when did you come up with the idea of, okay, you know what, I'm going to have 3 female investigators. Like, why 3 female investigators and not male
Probably
investigators?
shortly before I hit puberty.
That's when you're like, let's make this interesting.
That kind of is, there's a fine line between being an investigator and being the director of, or the producer of a paranormal program. That I wanted to have something that was both interesting, entertaining, informative, and I wanted to focus it towards people that were going to enjoy, you know, seeing the investigations, but you know, they don't have to look at me, another bald guy with a goatee, investigating. Although I do make a couple of appearances here and there. We have the lovely Stephanie Burke and yourself on the program at times. We also have Kristen Donahue and Ashley Beach that are investigators at times. So I like to keep it fresh and, you know, ratings oriented. But we also like to present things as factual as possible. And we will go to great lengths to debunk things that we find that are odd. And one of the things that we have coming up on the next episode of Phantom PI, which will be on before the end of November, we have some great things that are coming up. We have some unexplainable film that we want to present to you that we've gone to great lengths to debunk. Did I see the light?
Yeah, you did. I
did.
was just going to cut you off.
Cut me right off.
Like I do so well. Matt, Andrew, what's the next question?
Yeah, just before we go any further, Spectre did want to know, Carl, did you ever find out what was going on in that home you lived in?
And an adjunct, people are having technical issues with the room and stuff like that. That may be a part of the reason why we're not getting as many questions as we would like.
Oh, okay.
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 So the question was, did we ever find out what was going on with
Yeah,
that? Basically, there wasn't anything that I could
can't
find
go anywhere with
historically tied to any one person, but there were a lot of anomalous things that happened in the house. There were disembodied voices at certain times. There were anomalous vapors, which are kind of I don't know what's going on. I'm just. There was different things that happened that were kind of just like textbook things, residual things. Now I know them as residual. Back then as a child, when you see something pass before you in a vaporous form and you don't know what it is, I'm just hoping that it's not intelligent. I'm just hoping that it doesn't see me. Now I know. But there were some things that were intelligent that seemed to be on the darker side. I'm not going to go into great detail about that, but not a lot of solid historical ties to any one person. Just a lot of stuff going on.
So really no answers on that one.
Just the fact that I now know that certain things were residual, and certain things happened certain times of the year, like with the very heavy downpour of rain, there was a certain apparition that would come up onto the front steps. But that only happened at that time. I don't think that that was an intelligent. I think that was something that was residual. And we had vapors in the house that seemed to be residual. And then there was disembodied voices. There was laughter in the house. And then there was also some darker things like shadow people, shadow forms in the house.
Now, do you think this would be a possible investigation for Phantom PI?
The house is often on the market.
I can see why.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why the house it's often on the market. So the door is always open. I feel a little trepidatious, even as an experienced investigator. I feel a little trepidatious about the dark things that are in that house. I still have a problem with that.
So another question?
Yeah, Spectre,
Okay.
just following up on what you're talking about. Do you think it's possible to end a residual haunt?
Good question.
Excellent
That is a
question,
good
Spectre.
question.
Yes. Do I think it's possible to end it? And I think there's a couple of theories out there that residual haunts are something that you either have to be in tune yourself to see, or it's something that at times they do fade. Those are a couple of the theories that I've heard. It's possible that they will fade. If it's a residual that has something to do with a lot of traumatic emotions, it may not fade as fast, or it may not fade at all. I don't know if anybody, of course we remember Ocean-Born Mary and certain things like that, where it's a very traumatic event. That might stick around a little longer.
See, I've heard things like it can go away for a while, like say a house is completely emptied. Say a person moves in shortly after that has the same kind of psychic energy that psychic imprint has, it can reawaken it. So I don't even know if, that's a question for...
But from my research, I found that eventually haunts do end.
Yes.
Because otherwise we would be chasing ghosts of dinosaurs. If,
Yep.
Seriously, think about it.
Yep.
And the reason why that's happening is because we are energy, and our souls are just energy. And according to physical law, you have the law of entropy. Eventually energy does fade out
Yes.
into the rest of nothing. So.
There you
Thanks,
have
Matt.
it.
That was
Next
really
week.
good. I'm
How's
really
that, Spectre?
Good thing we have a scientist with us.
Yes.
I know.
How's that, Spectre? Is that good?
I gather that.
We'll see.
We'll,
Yeah,
see,
we'll see.
we'll see what happens. So it brings us, you have the idea of, the three girls and your love of the paranormal because of your experiences. I won't call it love, but but because of your experiences, you wanted to do something about it. Okay?
Well, absolutely.
And you probably wanted to find some answers. So now you guys premiered this, when was it? It was October? No, it was September, wasn't it?
We premiered in September on WCTV, and this is where we are now at WCTV Studios, and you can see the show.
Yeah.
You can go to WCTV.org and see when the show is airing. You go to schedule, and you can even do a search for Phantom. and you can see the first episode, which we've done, and when the second one's coming up.
Now, you have Stephanie Burke, who is a spirit medium.
Yes.
So how does that change from just a regular investigator's point of view? From, I mean, you watch some of these ghost shows, ghost hunting shows, and they, you know, they have, they, sorry, they
They're
have.
picking on us in the chat room.
No,
I don't
no,
know
no,
why.
no.
They're picking
Not
on
you guys.
me in the chat room. Oh.
Sorry, folks, we didn't mean to be unprofessional.
It's okay.
Well, we're very professional.
Yeah.
So now I want to know. I hate being
We'll know.
left
We'll
out
find
of
out
the
sooner or
loop. So
later. So we have.
I'm going to psychically tune in. But anyways, so how I know sometimes these shows have a special guest on where they bring maybe a medium or a psychic in, but they don't usually stay with the show. So Steph, you are a current member of Phantom PI.
I am.
So each investigation, would you? I'm going to use this term lightly because I don't want to say lead it. I'm going to say lead it, but I don't mean it like
Right.
you're the number one person to go to, but because you are unique in that way. How do you think it's beneficial for Phantom PI?
When I sat in this very spot, actually, almost a year ago, maybe, I had to convince 3 people besides Carl why a medium would be good for the show. And my explanation was, you're a regular ghost hunter, you aren't tuned into your intuition or the other side or anything like that. You can spend 8 hours in an investigation in a house with no energy at all. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, stay in a room for 2 hours trying to get an answer when the ghost is downstairs. So
Right.
I said to them, I can feel the energy, I can sense the energy, and I can also see physical apparitions. It's easier to have me go in and tell you, even if you don't want me there the whole time, tell you exactly where the energy is, the hot spots, and then go from there. So, I mean, that's actually what sparked an investigation here, because I was sitting at the table one night and saw somebody standing in front of me, and turns out it was probably one of the best investigations we ever did. So that's where I feel like it's beneficial to the whole team. So.
And I can attest to that I'm actually their special guest for the second episode, and we did do the investigation.
You're confusing me. Are you the guest or are we the guest? You're saying you're the guest?
I'm the guest right
For
now.
on
Phantom.
I get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Phantom.
But you guys can ask me any questions. I mean, I'll answer anything. I have no open book right here. But I can attest to that it was just an absolutely amazing investigation. I don't want to give away too much because I know we're going to be talking about it when it actually airs. So
Right.
I don't want to give away too much, but
This next
we had 2
episode
mediums.
of Phantom PI is going to blow some minds.
We had 2 mediums on
Absolutely.
at all times. So
There's some things that
it was-
happened there that I've never seen in years of investigating. That's absolutely
was
going to
that?
blow your mind. From a technical standpoint, I can't
I
tell
can't
you.
wait. I can't wait to see it.
Decades.
But
But the thing is I don't want to cut you off, but just interject is, you know, I'm not psychic. I'm not a medium. I get feelings, but I don't hear anything specific or feel anything specific. But Stephanie, I had a feeling about her at an event that we were at in 2009, 2010, where we were doing like an ad hoc type of a investigation in the basement of a place.
I think I was in the bathroom that
You might
night.
have been.
You were.
And
I didn't even think you knew I was a medium then, though.
no, I didn't. I just knew that. I just had a feeling about her, and I kind of connected with her and reconnected with her, and we have a clip that explains to me. I was kind of skeptical about having a spirit medium, or you know, everybody keeps saying psychic, but I get slapped if I say psychic. Spirit medium. So I was kind of trepidatious about it, but she certainly has proven herself. We have a clip that shows why. You know, she's proven herself because we.
Now, is the clip from that event, or is it from the first episode?
We
of
did
Phantom
an
PI?
investigation, and it is
Phantom
from
PI.
it is in the first episode of Phantom PI, and it's not just the girls. We have other investigators come along. At this investigation, we had Michael Markowitz, who's our resident EVP
Who was
guru.
on last week?
Yes, was on last week on Spirit Connections, and we have a clip that I. When can we show the clip now? Okay.
Cool.
All
we're
right.
Watching.
Oh.
Can't hear it.
Yes. Now, we didn't hear anything at the time,
Okay.
but when you play this file back, you hear that child say, "Puddin' Tom," and then she says, "You know, I saw a child." Now we have an EVP that backs up her sighting that she had, or whatever, her vision, or whatever she sensed. That's a direct correlation there.
I love that sound.
I saw what looked like a white dress in this corner and just kind of take off that way.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
So that clip was
So Puddin' Tom.
There's another
an
clip that goes
EVP.
along with that,
What
though.
you saw was Mike setting up the EVP.
Okay.
And in the very first section, he has highlighted an electronic voice phenomenon, which we did not hear at the time of the investigation, but showed up later on the recording. And it said it was a young child's voice or a younger person's voice, and it said Puddin' Tom. And then you hear Mike's voice, and then you hear Stephanie's voice less than 10 seconds later. And as a spirit medium, she says, "I just saw a white dress take off over there." And it was just so amazing that she picked up on that in the same 15 seconds of audio that the EVP was there with a young person's
Right,
voice.
there's a few that were like that,
there's your reason right there why I think, you know,
It's
spirit
that right on
medium,
validation,
you know,
too.
it really is. It was spot on, and she did a great job. And she's done that time and time again, like she was talking about earlier. We see something here, and we do an investigation, and in that exact spot, we have all kinds of energy going on. We have energy going on with the cameras. We have energy going on with the microphones, infrared cameras, and we have all kinds of communication going back and forth with the flashlight and the EMF meters. So I think it's fantastic, and you know, I wish more teams would have spirit mediums.
I do too. I think it's. I've worked with SPIES, South Shore Paranormal Investigators East Coast Society. I do a lot of work with them, and I've been able to actually expand and do some work with you guys. And
And we love having you.
Oh, thank you. I really think that there's nothing wrong with it. It's only going to add to the investigation. It's only going to add to hopefully getting more answers, or maybe help finding some sort of closure or something for, say, the homeowner or the person that's requesting the investigation.
Right, and I completely
you know?
agree too, because at first you were like almost 100% skeptical of having me on the show. You wanted me on the show, and then you realized I was a medium, and that kind of threw you for a loop.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think
chastise
it's funny that it's come this far, and it's to the point where, I mean, our camera guy would go, "Carl, your medium says," for the longest time, instead of calling me by my name because he didn't believe in what I do. But it's interesting to see where it went from, say, like January to now.
It works. It really does. And there's a lot of shows now that do feature they're either self-titled mediums or psychics. There's a bunch of them actually that are on right now that are exclusive to mediumship or psychic, whatever they call it.
Psychic in Suburbia, Maureen
There
Hancock.
you go. There you go.
My favorite girl.
So, you know, there's very little blending of the two, of the traditional paranormal investigations and spirit medium. So
But I like
I
it.
think it works well.
It goes hand in hand, and that's the thing. Because I've gotten a lot of different opinions, and some people will just ask, "Well, why don't you think it's a bunch of garbage paranormal?" And I'm like, "Well, not so much. You know, it's all energy."
There's a lot of mediums out there that absolutely 100% do not believe in paranormal investigation. But my outlook is, well, you're going into a house full of energy and spirits. Don't they need help too? Just because they're not a past loved one of somebody that you're doing a reading for, don't they need help to cross over? Don't you want to find out their answers, their stories as to why they're here?
Right.
It's usually just spirits that need help to cross over, or spirits that need help, you know, finding their way. And most of the time, if there's a lot of paranormal activity, it's because they're trying to get whoever's living there's attention to, like, hey, I'm stuck here, I need help. And I mean, yes, there are dark things that you can come across. You need to know 100% what you're getting yourself into and how to deal with it, but that's rare.
But then that's
it does
again,
happen,
like,
but it's rare.
And I always say, you and I always talk about power protection.
Yes.
Over and over again, how so many different forms of power protection.
Always use
You know.
protection.
So, do you have any questions in the chat room, or are they
Sure
just
they do.
chatting it up with themselves?
Nope.
No, it's just a lot of lampooning going back and forth.
Oh.
Oh, so it's
Well, I
People wanna
see you-
know-
we see you
people
both
wanna know
smiling.
the great mystery, what happened to Matt Moniz's beard?
Oh, yes. Yes, it was here a while ago.
Do you think it's going to make a comeback Saturday? Well, take
It might
Probably
take a little
not.
bit longer.
Not
no,
in
it
its
might
full
take
form.
longer.
The strange thing about facial hair is you shave and it's like days later it's back. I don't get it.
It's a
all I
mystery.
know
It's
is
residual.
Yeah.
all I know is flesh peeling. Awkward.
What we just talked about, there's 3 levels there. There's finding out answers for yourself. There's helping the people that you're doing the investigation for. And there's also what you just talked about, which is helping the spirits that need to help cross over. So there's 3 things there that are important. It's important to the individual, important to the people that live in the location, and also to the spirits,
Right.
whatever they may be,
Exactly. It's just it's part of life
Right.
and death.
and death.
No pun intended.
Now, on a side note, yesterday was Halloween. Did everybody celebrate the Halloween?
Yes. I had no trick-or-treaters.
Neither did I.
None.
I had 40.
Really?
That's 40 more than what I
You
had.
know, though, I went in to CVS and bought a bag of candy, well knowing I wasn't going to get one single trick-or-treater. And I ate that candy. Not all of it, but I ate a lot of it.
No
but-
Doritos?
No, I do have a bag. Oh, I have a story, but I won't tell you.
Tell us.
Well, no, because I don't want to bore you guys. It has nothing to do
It's
with
not
paranormal.
boring.
It's just
we want to hear Tiff's
it's
story,
like
don't
a
we?
sick little story. Okay, I'll tell you really quick.
Oh boy.
Are you guys in the mood for a story?
Sure.
Or it's
All
not
right, hurry
so
up, go.
much. Did I tell you?
No.
No. Okay. So, anyways.
Do tell.
All right. So it was kind of okay. Well, anyway, so Saturday, bad weather out. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to go over to my friend's house and see what's going on. Maybe we'll just watch some movies. So I was getting ready to leave my house, and every time before I leave my house, I always give Lily. If you guys don't know who Lily is, she's my pride and joy, my Boston Terrier. I was going to give her a treat, so I open up the drawer and I'm like, come on, Lily, come on, let's get you a treat. And I stuck my hand in the treats, and I never just pick the first treat. I'm very OCD, so what I usually do is just kind of like grasp around the other treats, like feel around. So that's what I did, and all of a sudden I felt something really fluffy and soft. And for the first second I thought, wow, that's really fluffy and soft. And then I snapped into what it really was. So of course, like I was like, whoa, I screamed. I'm like, oh my gosh, Lily, Lily! Lily's running around me in circles, and so I get my trusty flashlight that I use on investigations, and I'm flicking the dog treat box, and sure enough, it was a little mouse.
A little mouse.
A little mouse.
Wow.
You're like a
But
little
you know
mouse
what?
that bite your fingers.
You want? No, it was dead.
I thought you were going to say it was a
But
big
we
hairy
have
tarantula.
to-
It was a dead mouse. But the thing
How'd it get
is
in there?
earlier that week,
Isn't that a graphic novel, Dead Mouse?
I don't know,
I think
but
it is.
but earlier
Sorry.
that week, I heard something in my kitchen, and I'm thinking maybe it's just because I've been doing a lot of investigating or doing a lot of readings, like, and the place I live is pretty old, so I went into my kitchen and I'm looking around, I'm like, maybe it's just the refrigerator making this like noise, and so couple times, 2 days I did it, and then finally it just stopped. Well, I found out what the noise was.
So it's
The
not
mouse.
always paranormal, folks.
Well,
Yeah.
now it's a paranormal mouse, considering it's no longer
Yeah.
alive.
Yep. So that's my story. It
Poor
had nothing to do
mouse.
with today's topic or
I feel bad
anything
for him.
paranormal at all. It was just a good story to tell. So I thought it was a good story. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I thoroughly
Poor little
enjoyed it.
mouse.
I
feel
thoroughly
bad for
enjoyed
Did
it.
you?
Because the
See,
control
we
room
get
likes it
people,
too.
the control room's clapping. Like, it's a good
It
time
is,
story.
It is.
Well, I think the pizza just arrived.
Ah, yummy.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you guys chatting it up in the chat room. What's going on?
No,
Right
they're
here.
talking amongst themselves.
Talking
Just
amongst
totally
themselves.
tuned out of us.
I can tell you something about Matt Moniz.
Probably tell us
Matt-
more.
Remember, I do carry a gun.
Yes.
Just make sure I get under the table
Matt Moniz and I
first.
share a day together.
Yep.
It's the same birthday.
Oh.
Spooky.
Yes,
May
isn't that
5th?
spooky? Matt
Is
and
it
I.
May 5th?
Nope.
No,
Oh,
May 9th.
May
Yep.
9th.
Matt and I have been on paranormal investigations, cryptid investigations, such
Yep.
as a big cat, UFO investigations, and including Andrew Lake and Jeff Belanger, we have actually been inside the Bridgewater Triangle searching for evidence of Sasquatch or Bigfoot. So he's covered almost all
The topics.
the investigations we could be on with the person. I think we did them in a relatively short span of time.
Yeah,
So
we did.
it was
Like most of them within 1 week.
yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we did find some pretty cool evidence. So Phantom PI isn't just about, isn't just about ghosts or spirits or things like that. It's about whatever you have going
All
on.
mysteries.
You know, if you have a,
And
go ahead.
Oh no, Spooky Tim just wanted to know, did Chops tell the story of his dog and the dead famous EVP? Tell him to share that if he hasn't.
Yes. Speaking of dogs, thank you, Spooky Tim. Dead Famous was a television program that was on cable a few years ago with
I remember that.
Chris Fleming. And I have a dog that I rescued through the shelter, the Humane Society shelter in North Dartmouth. He's a German Shepherd, and he's been living with us now for 6 years. And at about the first year and a half, he'd been in the house, and we play the TV all the time. And 4 daughters, and the TV in the living room is just a normal TV. It's not any special audio or surround sound or anything like that. And of course, I watch all the paranormal shows. You know, there's nothing that I don't watch. And I happen to be watching Dead Famous with Chris Fleming. And the episode, they were at a roadhouse in Texas. Sounds like a honky-tonk song. I was at a roadhouse in Texas. And it was, I can't remember the name of it, but it was where Janis Joplin, the famous rock singer, blues singer, one of the greatest female vocalists of our time, of all time, started her career. And Chris and the other investigator were in the bar at night where she began her career, and he was doing an EVP session. And they captured some type of a EVP, and it sounded like it said, hello, hello, like that. Well, I happened to be watching this episode in the middle of the day one time by myself, home alone, and my dog, whose name is Django, like Django Reinhardt, the famous gypsy guitar player, came barreling down the hallway into the living room and just howled at the top of his lungs, just like a death howl. And he was visibly shaken, and he was upset. And I, for a moment, didn't understand why. I thought maybe there was a siren or something, but he'd never really reacted to anything like that before at all. And I kind of figured it out that it was this EVP. So, not to be mean to the dog, but I replayed it just to check to see, if it was something that, was bothering me. And it definitely was that one EVP. And Chris Fleming, if you're watching, I emailed you about this because I wanted to, maybe have you come out and check it out, but hasn't answered me yet.
Yeah, we know you actually named the dog Django after Jango Fett from Star Wars.
Well, it's with a J.
So it's Jango Fett.
Well, if my children are watching, my wife will tell the story that it's Django pronounced like that, but it was actually from a children's book that my daughter named it by somebody that was named Django Woods.
Oh, another Woods.
So
That's funny.
plenty of Djangos to go around, but he has
Like Mr. Bo.
Oh, there you go, Mr. Bo. There you go. Da-dum-bum. But he hasn't done that with any of the other show EVPs.
I wonder if it was just a different, like a
We're going to
pitch
investigate it.
or
We're
Okay.
going to investigate it. We're going to come in with some decibel meters and film him, and we'll show you. Because I've had the episode on my DVR for 5 years now. So we'll film it as a small segment and air it on Phantom PI, maybe Spirit Connections. Maybe do a
Well, I would
special
love it.
animals in the paranormal.
That's, Spirit Connections event Saturday. You got to talk to my friend Karen Rando.
There you go.
Ooh, sorry.
What'd you
Just
do?
kidding.
Nothing.
The control room finds that funny.
I'm glad you're laughing at us. Not
Yes.
with us,
They're
at
not
us.
laughing at us,
Right,
they're laughing
right.
near us.
Yeah. So what else, guys? What else is going on?
Like I said,
Just
Tim will
general.
offer you his sound meter if you want to borrow it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We missed Tim tonight.
No, he's there.
Good.
Tim almost was in your position.
You owe me.
Oh, come on.
Let's turn the tables. How do Matt and Andy feel about mediums on investigations or investigators that are mediums?
I'll let Matt go first.
Okay.
question.
I have no problems with them whatsoever. Like I said, as a scientist, I'll take any edge and take any input of data I can get. To me, it's a resource that's available to me. I'd be a fool not to use it. That's my view.
I always wanted to work with a psychic, and I'm very grateful to a good friend of mine who's a police officer who introduced me to the psychic that I work with. For the first 3 investigations I was on, I used to joke with her and say, "You're a phony and I'm going to prove it." And by the 3rd investigation, my jaw was on the floor. And when we got into the car, I looked at her and said, "All right, joke's over. You're not a fraud." And not only is she my best friend, I would say,
That's awesome.
she's my best ghost hunting piece of equipment. And I get ticked off at her every time she stays home with her kids. Because, I mean, come on, you kids, we got to go
I know.
you know?
But I do want to say that I'll say her name because she's going to be on next week.
Yeah, Pamela Padalano.
Yeah, Pamela Padalano is going to be joining me on Spirit Connections next week, and I hope you're coming. It's okay.
Oh, I'm going to give her a ride here.
Yeah, because
Awesome.
we had talked about it, and I was hoping that you were going to come, but I didn't talk to you about it yet. So, and Matt, as always, you're welcome. You know that. So.
I live right down the street.
Yeah. So it's going to be the same crew plus 1. So
There we go.
we're going to have so much more fun. Maybe we should bring in baked goods or something. You know, I don't know.
I think we should get a new table. And
Yeah.
like, what was it, Chelsea, lately we were talking about? Like the round table?
Yeah, I
Everybody
like the
just
round table
got-
effect. I don't know if you guys have any suggestions.
And a
Put 'em
chocolate
in.
fountain with strawberries.
Imagine.
If you're bringing it.
That would, you guys would be rolling me out
Yeah.
because I'd be like, talk. I have bananas and strawberries in my mouth. But anyways, and marshmallows.
We have
I like
fun
that.
when we go
Yes.
out.
We
We
do.
have fun here, and we have fun when we go out. You know, but it's serious business. But
You know what I want to
We do.
say?
We have a blast.
Sorry, I got excited and I interrupted you.
no, you didn't interrupt me.
But you know what I want to
I'm
say
just a
is that
guest.
it always seems to be like it's the same crowd, and it's because I love you guys, and I, in the whole realm of the paranormal community, I'm learning that there are just certain people that have you back that are so loyal, and you guys are definitely. And I'm gonna get emotional. No, I'm not.
Getting verklempt.
Go for it.
But,
Go for
but
it.
no, I mean it's. Thank you guys for having my back. I'll say that at least. So I won't speak for you guys, but it is. It's very nice to have.
We're happy to be
you
here.
know, like everybody that. Since I've really been active in the paranormal community for a short time, because I've been doing medium work longer, but in the short time that I've been in the community, you guys have always been there for me. So.
You said medium, short, and longer. Oh, like in one sentence.
What did I say?
Medium, short, and longer. And then extra large.
The only thing she didn't say is supersize me.
Yeah.
But we love you too, Tiff.
Yes, we
And because you
do.
protect me when I go out.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
What did you guys think of the Sam West house yesterday?
Loved it.
I mean, the other day.
I loved it.
I did too. It
I
was
had a
absolutely-
really good time.
Just so you, to
And
stay-
Kate is awesome.
Tell us what
just
happened.
to keep you guys informed. After the show last week, we had the pleasure. Matt Moniz took us out to the Sam West house, where can I say the owner's name?
Sure.
Or no? Oh, where
I
Kate.
did. Oops.
Oh, sorry, Kate and John Zaner. Did I pronounce that correctly? Just want to make sure. They're the owners of the Sam West House, and they were very accommodating to us. We
Yes.
went in there after Spirit Connections, and including Mike Markowitz. He came with all of his
He did.
EVP stuff, and we went in and just took a short look around the house, and it was absolutely amazing. There's so much energy. You walk in, and it just
It's a fairground for
exactly.
paranormal investigators. The
You
place is
feel like
amazing.
you just come in. It's
It
an
is.
old house.
How old? It was built in
43, the original house of the property.
1743.
Yeah.
I thought
And-
they said 32 for some reason.
I'm recalling the date 1743. Maybe
Okay.
I'm mistaken, but
That's
I'm pretty
Somewhere
believe
around
Andrew
there
is
works.
correct.
Yeah.
And
Before,
actually,
before the Revolutionary
And
War.
not only that, it was actually built on Indian burial grounds, and the
Yes.
graves were desecrated.
The remains and the artifacts are actually in a
Yep.
museum. It's one of the only houses where I have a documented proof that it really is on an Indian burial ground.
That's awesome.
It sounds corny and cliched, but
I do want to say, Steph and I, who actually did we went in and did the reading on the house, like we always usually
Yep.
do. We never ask for any information. Like we knew it was called the Sam West House. We knew the location.
Right.
And that was it. And Mike Markowitz and Matt Moniz followed us around with digital voice recorders, which are used to hopefully collect EVPs, which are electronic voice phenomena. So we went to all different areas, and it was actually funny working. It was, Steph and I doing our
Yep.
thing, and at certain times in the certain areas, I should say, you were getting something completely different than what I
Yes.
was getting. And at first I was thinking, oh my gosh, am I wrong? But
Right,
at the same
yep.
time, because I was like, I just can't
No,
link into her.
we
I
were
couldn't.
both right, or we were both together. We were both completely separate, but both right.
Right,
So,
we were just linking into two separate time periods.
Yep. Which is weird to watch, I'm sure, from somebody else's point of view, watching the two of us connected to completely different things.
It
that had
was a
nothing to do
thrill
with
for
it.
me to watch because I'm knowing what you're talking about, then I'm also knowing what she's
Yeah.
talking about. So it was interesting to see two separate mediums pick up things in that house that we've already
Yeah.
documented
Yeah.
and know.
Yep.
And by the way, I've got at least 3 EVPs recorded out of that event.
Wow.
I don't know how many Mike got, but I know I have 3, and I let Andy hear one of them.
and I personally have collected 5 astounding Class A EVPs. And of course, my favorite is the one that told me to shut up, called me by name, and told
That's
me to
funny.
shut up.
But they definitely love me in that
Yeah,
house. So.
they don't
But
care for me in that house.
We had
I've
an
been told
awesome
that by
time.
another psychic too.
Awesome time. I mean, Kate and John were so accommodating,
They
so
were-
nice
they
to
were-
open up their home
exactly.
to us.
The great cookies.
Yes, I was
Great
going to say the
cookies.
cookies were fantastic
You will
too.
gain
Thank you,
weight
Kate
in
and
your
John.
household.
Oh, yeah.
We'd asked them if we could come in as Phantom PI, and they said sure.
So that looks
That
like
would be awesome.
it could be an episode
Yep.
coming up in the
It
near
very well
future.
could be.
Maybe the beginning of the year.
I think
Right.
it would be a great episode.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to help out again.
I'm sure you could.
I do have the
want you
Phantom
to.
PI
Take me in
t-shirt.
You have a T-shirt.
I'll
do
make
have
it
a
into a
t-shirt.
tank. Sorry.
That's all right.
Depending on what time of the year it is. But no, we had a good time.
Yeah,
it was interesting to work together as well too, because most of the time when we do work together, people separate us or throw us in different rooms and see what we get. But it was cool to have that double energy. I think the two of us together stirred up more energy than we normally would by ourselves.
Yeah, it was absolutely. I'll attest. I used that word twice tonight. I don't usually use that word. That's why I'm making it. And I'm OCD from counting. So I'm kidding. Not really. But I can attest to that 3 times.
Yep.
Because the energy that you said was stirred up. It was just we were just going back and
Yep.
forth, back and forth. And we were both validating each other at that time.
Right.
Because a lot of times, if you do work with other mediums, there's some that actually they have their thing, whether they're really good with environmental
Yep.
pieces or property, I should say, or they might be really good with animal
Right.
communication as opposed to spirit form, human form.
Right. And we're
Um,
both very similar. We're together all the time. Our energies are linked already.
Mhm.
So it was cool to watch what actually happened. And both of us thinking that we were wrong, we're actually right, but double right. And then it was a good time.
And it was strange for me because I hung out with Kate and John downstairs in the kitchen, mainly because that's where the cookies were.
They were good peanut
No,
butter.
I felt
Yes,
like
they were.
I felt like I wanted to talk to them and kind of keep them company and let you guys go do your thing. And when you came back down and you started discussing what was going on, again, I don't have any type of mediumship or contact or anything, but I was picking up on this energy in this place to the point where I kept saying to Mike and Matt, I should have said what I was just thinking, because it was almost
Right.
as if